Hello, it's me again. You might notice some changes, so let's go over those before I get too far into the video. First, my hair's not done, because I didn't want to. Second, I'm in full screen, and that's because this isn't a VGC Guides episode, this is just a discussion video about the new rule set. You probably guessed that from the title, but if you didn't, that's cool too. Also, I don't know what it is, and I don't know if you can see it, but like, behind me, oh, I covered it up. I think I need to go this way, yeah. So behind me on my wall, like, there's like a white circle somewhere on my wall. I didn't notice this before, and I actually can't see it just looking at my wall. But like I thought it was my light at first, but it's like I turned my light off, and it's not. Like it's still there. So that's cool. I don't know, it's distracting me, but regardless. So anyways, obviously so far this channel has been about breaking down the new Paldea man. This video has been about breaking down the new Pokemon of Paldea, how viable they are, how to use them, so on and so forth. However, I was doing that without any sort of confirmed rule set. So, that being said, the rules for VGC 2023 Series 1 have been announced, and will run from the end of today, presumably, until January 31st of next year. So going forward, I'm going to continue to post VGC guides every single day. I may continue with the Treasures of Ruin Pokemon, because I feel like they will be legal at some point. And then I plan on posting battling content either daily or every other day. It just depends if I'm feeling up to it that day. And then for now, the Pokemon will just be on Pokemon Showdown because I'm lazy and haven't built a team in game yet. But eventually, I will get to in-game battling. So, without further ado, let's talk about the new, the current VGC rule set. All right, so Series 1, 2023 VGC, right? Start date December 2nd, 2022 to January 31st, 2023. More than likely, this means it's starting like today at 9 o'clock p.m. Western time, which on the East Coast would be December 2nd, right? So midnight on the East Coast, like 9 p.m. on the West Coast. I don't know what time it would be in like the central US, like 8 or 10 o'clock p.m. I'm not sure. So, rule set, or like legal Pokemon, right? You're restricted to the Paldea Pokedex. So Pokemon that are obtainable within the game cannot be transferred in, right? This is a pretty common thing for like every first year of VGC for the new generation. This was true this year, it was true in 2020, it was true in 2017. I think it was true in 2014 and 2011. I didn't play back then, but I've seen videos and I think that was the case. So yeah, only Pokemon that are limited to like, or only Pokemon that are restricted to the actual Pokedex of that game. Team limits 4 to 6 Pokemon, level 1 to 50, all set to level 50. This hasn't changed since 2017. And even then in 2017, the only change is that everything is set to level 50, so you can't pull up with like level 49 Pokemon to get some sort of advantage. It was a trick room advantage, it was a whole thing. Moxie Boosted has great videos on it. So your time is 10 minutes. I feel like this might be an increase from 2022. I think your time in 2022 is 7 minutes. Don't quote me on that. Team preview is 90 seconds. It has been 90 seconds for as long as I've been playing. I don't know about before that. I've been playing since 2017. I feel like 90 seconds is honestly the perfect amount of time. And then your time is now 60 seconds, which I also think is an increase. I think in Sword and Shield's VGC it was 45 seconds. Again, don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on the your time and the team or turn. Don't quote me on the turn time and the your time. I could be wrong about those, and if I am wrong about those, I apologize. And if anybody like has that information either on hand or on the top of their head, like just comment it down below, and like I'll pin it to the top because I don't really want to like put incorrect information on the internet. But yeah, so that's me. Next, unfortunately, we're back to this whole like beginner Pokeball, Great Ball, Ultra Ball, Master Ball tier thing, which is whatever. Like, I'm not really here to talk about like my opinion on how this works. If you guys are interested in my opinion on the whole like tier thing and then like the series, I will do a separate video on that. So if you guys are interested in like my personal opinions on those things, just let me know and I'll look into it. What I will say is like making this both a gold bottle cap and a bottle cap is I think really useful. Because in Sword and Shield, you would hit Master Ball tier and you would only get a gold bottle cap. And it felt really bad dropping an entire gold bottle cap on one IV, right? Also, it was less good for making Pokemon for Trick Room. Unfortunately, also, this is something that a lot of people have realized, and a lot of people are not the happiest about. There's no like 0 IV bottle cap. Don't quote me on this, I haven't hyper trained a Pokemon yet. You may be able to set them to 0. I actually have not looked. Nor has anybody said anything about it. So, I don't think anything's changed in that area. Moving on to the more important part, we got the banned Pokemon. Oh, also, I wanted to point this out, like, this is going to be like a longer video, and like, the reason being, I may have said this already, the reason being is like, I thought until recently that I had like a 15-minute time limit on these videos, but I did some reading on it, and like, it says if like you verify your YouTube account, you can post longer than 15-minute videos, which I think I've done in the past, but like, I'm not sure, and so like, obviously if this video goes up and it's longer than like 15 minutes, which I also thought it was like 20 minutes because I have like a video that's like 18 or 19 minutes long out there, so I thought I had like a 20-minute video limit or a 20-minute time limit, but I think that might be incorrect. So if this video comes up and it's longer than 20 minutes, then I guess that's cool, which is like really funny and really annoying because I've been trying to like cram previous videos into that like under 15-20 minute time limit. So yeah, in the future I could also do more in-depth versions of those for the ones that I think need more time. Moving on, now we'll actually get to the banned Pokemon. First of all, the Charmander line. I think this is only because this Pokemon is like a one-time availability thing and this like 7-star Black Terra Raid or Black Den Terra Raid or something like that. It's some event that's going on. And even if these Pokemon were like allowed, I don't see them being used all that much just because like Charizard has Blaze and Solar Power, and outside of Dynamax, Solar Power is really not a great ability. Losing 10% of your HP, okay, no. It is a great ability, I just don't see it being used very often on Charizard, who is speed tying and outsped by most, or not most, but like a large portion of viable Pokemon this tier. Point is, I don't see it being used at all. Meowth and Berserker and Wooper and Quagsire are being banned just because these Pokemon have like, well, Meowth is because it's the Cantonian version of Meowth in this game, and Wooper is because it's the Paldean version of Wooper in this game. So, that's why those are banned. I don't see any of these 4 being used in VGC. Maybe like stupid Quagsire plays that people some to make, because Quagsire is that Pokemon is like, it's not viable, it just works. It's not good, it just works, right? So now let's talk about the banned Pokemon that like were really shocking, right? I feel like half the player base was like expecting these Pokemon to not be allowed, and then the other half of the player base was like expecting these to not. Did I say that twice? Half the player base wasn't expecting it, and half the player base was expecting this, right? And that's the Paradox Pokemon and the Treasures of Ruin Pokemon being banned. Personally, I had very mixed feelings about this. When the rule set first dropped, I was like, man, I really hope these Paradox Pokemon like aren't allowed to be used in VGC. And then as I started using them, and I'm like, no way, can we please keep these Pokemon? They're fun. So yeah, some of the more important ones I think are like, I think Great Tusk is better in singles than it is double. I don't remember. I haven't used it in VGC yet. But Brute Bonnet was like really good in VGC. It's basically like physical attacking Amoonguss. It's hits very hard, has really great physical attack, and it still gets Spore, and is still great in Trick Room. So it's just like offensive Amoonguss, right? This Pokemon is really good. I can't tell you the last time I played a Sandy Shocks. I may have played like 1 since I started like testing teams for VGC 23. Screamtail, I think it was like good on like Trick Room. I think it may have been good on Trick Room teams. I think it was good on like Perish Trap teams as well. I don't remember. I don't know what it did. I couldn't tell you, but I ran into it a couple times. I clicked Iron Head against it with my Dragonite and it died, so. Now, Fluttermane being banned is actually like a really big one, right? Because this Pokemon was fast, and it hit hard, and it had speed control. It felt like Regieleki felt in 2021 and 2022. It came in, it got its speed control or burst damage off, and then died, right? Maybe sometimes it could take like a hit. So yeah, that was Fluttermane. Oh, I just realized it doesn't matter. So yeah, that was Fluttermane. I think this thing being banned actually, or not, yeah, I guess banned. We'll say banned. Fluttermane being banned, like, I think is good for like a lot of other Pokemon being viable, because Pokemon that were like weak to Fairy or weak to Ghost and would just get O-code, outsped and O-code by Fluttermane, are now like suddenly viable. I don't remember the last time I fought a Slitherwing. I think it was just a physical version of Volcarona that doesn't get Dragon Dance. It's also bug fighting, so it's not 4 times weak to rock, it's 4 times weak to flying. Roaring Moon was pretty good. It had like 1 or 2 sets that it ran, but it was like good at running those sets. I don't remember the last time I've seen this Mon or Iron Moth. Iron Hands I know was really good. It was just better Hariyama. It was Hariyama, I think, with higher attack. Maybe Hariyama hit harder after like Burn and Guts, but I'm not sure. But it had like fighting electric typing, which is really great offensive typing. There's Iron Jugulis. I have not seen this Mon since I've been playing. There's Iron Thorns. I also have not seen this Mon since I've been testing teams. And then there was Iron Bundle, right? Iron Bundle was banned in singles, or OU specifically, because you can't actually switch into its stabs. Like, very few Pokemon switched into Freeze Dry, Hydro Pump, and then in doubles it would run Icy Wind for speed control. Or Terra Blast if you're that guy. And then Iron Valiant. I didn't see Iron Valiant a lot. I used it. It was really fun. If you can hear it, don't mind the sirens outside my apartment. I think it's a fire truck. Nothing's on fire. Iron Valiant was really fun. Like, it has the capability to be a physical attacker, a special attacker, or a mixed spread, and we'll go more into this later. But it was really fun when I used it. Now, the ones that I'm really devastated about, and actually the ones that surprised me, like, I wasn't surprised that these were banned. Okay, I was, but I wasn't, right? I was not surprised, but let down, I guess, that the Paradox Pokemon were banned. But the Pokemon that, like, I was really actually kind of surprised about was the Treasures of Ruin Pokemon. Ting-Lu, Qian-Pao, Wo-Qian, and Chi-Yu. Right? The reason being is because, like, they felt thematically like the top boost felt in 2017, and maybe they're banned because they saw what happened in 2017 with the top boost, and they were like, yeah, we're not going to let that happen again. And the reason I say that thematically like the top boost is like, okay, first of all, there's 4 of them. They all share a common type, and then they all have an ability that affects everything on the field, right? Some of them just happen to be like excluding themselves, right? But they all had an ability that affected everything on the field. Qian-Pao with Beats of Ruin, Qian-Pao with Sword of Ruin, lowering defense. Ting-Lu with Vessel of Ruin, I think, lowering physical attack. Chi-Yu lowering special attack, or special defense of everything, and then Wo-Qian, I don't know what its ability was, I don't remember. Lowering, I think, the special attack of everything on the field, except themselves. All these Pokemon, like, except themselves, obviously. And so, I am, first of all, a bit surprised that these Pokemon are banned, but I can understand it. I'm also let down because I really liked Chi-Yu. This Pokemon was very fun. Ting-Lu was actually just starting to get, like, to pick up in usage in VGC because this thing, I had a video on Chi-Yu, or Ting-Lu. It doesn't die. So yeah, I have the Ting-Lu video, I have the Chi-Yu video, I have breakdowns for those Pokemon. I highly recommend going and watching them. They're really great Mons. I may still do the Qian-Pao and Wo-Qian videos because I think they might be usable eventually. So yeah, and then like Koraidon and Miraidon getting banned, I don't think anybody was surprised about. I think 100% of VGC players saw this coming because they're legendary Pokemon. I don't even think these were allowed in like the Battle Stadium doubles thing that we were using on Showdown for a while. So yeah, that's what we got so far on these. So now let's kind of like, because of these bans, like I think like a lot more Pokemon are, I think a lot more Pokemon are viable, because they're A, not outclassed, or B, not threatened by these Pokemon anymore. So with these bans, I want to try to go over some of the Pokemon that I think are going to be like very good, some of the support Mons, physical attackers, special attackers, so on and so forth. Pokemon that I think will be good or are good already, right? This is my second time trying to attempt these, some of this is already filled out. First is Breloom, right? So Breloom has been usable, has been good in like most formats it's usable in. It is just, it's 70 base speed Spore with Choice Scarf. You can actually make this thing go really fast. I use Choice Scarf for Breloom a lot, and now it gets close combat, so it actually gets like a really good offensive stab. Not saying Technician Mach Punch, like, I'm not saying that like Technician Mach Punch wasn't a good stab. But now it's good close combat if you don't run, if you can't use priority or something. Excuse me. So yeah, there's Breloom. Just a really fast Spore Pokemon. Again, I liked Choice Scarf Spore when I ran it in BDSP. Sorry, I like the color on that. And then there's Arcanine. Arcanine is like the king of limited dex formats. I personally think like I've been having a lot of fun with this set. I'm not spilling my EVs for the set, but I'm having a lot of fun with Terra Normal EV, or Terra Normal Extreme Speed Arcanine. This Pokemon is basically, it's like, you know when you go to the store as a kid, and you ask your mom, like, hey mom, can I have this cereal? And then your mom was like, we have that cereal at home. But then, like, you get home and it's like some knockoff version of that cereal. This is Incineroar. Like, in limited dex formats, it's Incineroar at home, right? Protect. I like Protect on this Pokemon. Increases the longevity of it. Will-O-Wisp and Snarl to lower physical and special attack. I like Extreme Speed because I'm not usually running a lot of speed on this Pokemon. And then with Terra Normal, like, I can Terra Normal to pick up, to do extra damage and pick up some KOs with Extreme Speed. And then just being able to outspeed and KO things in a pinch with Extreme Speed is nice. Furthermore, we're talking about Incineroar again. Incineroar walked this gen, or this format, so that Grimmsnarl could run. I feel like the Light Clay set will come back. It wasn't used a lot in 2022, right? Yeah, 2022, because Trick Iron Ball was more common, but I think Light Clay could come back. I've been using Light Clay Grimmsnarl. You'll obviously run Spirit Break. You could technically run like Sucker Punch, or what's the dark type if it gets? I guess False Surrender, but like you could run this, but I think Spirit Break is just better. You can run Light Screen, or you can run like Fake Out in the slot. Like, this is also a very viable set because you're already lowering special attack with Spirit Break. Running Light Screen just gives you the ability to do it faster. Reflect and then Parting Shot. This is what I mean when I say Incineroar Rock, so that this thing could sprint. They gave a Prankster Pokemon Parting Shot. If I quit VGC, I think this will be the reason. I won't because I abuse this myself, but like if I end up quitting, this will be the reason. Next, really great support Pokemon returning from Sword and Shield was Indeedee. With Psychic Seed, Psychic Surge, you get really great special defense, which is already quite high, so you can just invest max and max. Protect, Helping Hand, Follow Me. I run Terra Normal in this Pokemon. You have less weaknesses than Terra Psychic. Oh, that might be important. Hold on. It wasn't. Okay. So Protect, Helping Hand, Follow Me. And then I run Hyper Voice on this, just have spread damage. And with Terra Normal, your Hyper Voice is more powerful, so on and so forth, right? You could run different moves on this, like you could run Dazzling Gleam, you could run Heal Pulse, you could run Psychic or Psyshock, Shadow Ball. You could run pretty much any sort of move you want on this. I like Hyper Voice whenever I run this thing. When I have used this thing, I don't use it right now, but next to the Amoonguss, and Amoonguss has been good in every single format that it has been allowed in. This Pokemon is insane, right? You can run Effect Spore or Regenerator on this Pokemon. I like Regenerator, just increases its longevity, but I can see the appeal of Effect Spore. I also really like Covert Cloak on this Pokemon. Having the ability to not be like Rock Slide flinched if you're playing Pokemon that are faster than you is really nice. Or having the ability to just have this thing be faked out and then still spore a Pokemon or Rage Powder anyways is also really good. So I really personally like Covert Cloak and Amoonguss. You could run other items like Occaberry or like Recovery Berry or Leftovers or Black Sludge or something. Like, you can run other items. I also really like Terra Water on Amoonguss because you get rid of your flying weakness because Murkrow's a thing, and Murkrow's Brave Bird hits obnoxiously hard for a Pokemon with the 85 base attack. And then it gets rid of your fire weakness, and when Torkoal was really common with all the Paradox Pokemon running around, like, that was really cool because you could just absolutely tank like Fire, Terra, Sun boosted Helping Hand eruptions from the Pokemon as a water type and take like significantly less damage from it. Next is Volcarona. Volcarona is a really great support Pokemon. I've never actually used this thing for support, so some of what I say could technically be wrong. But you got Charty Berry, because you're 4 times weak to fire, because you're 4 times weak to rock. You can Terra into something else as well, like Terra Steel, if you don't want the rock weakness. Or Terra, I don't know, you Terra anything you really want to, right? Just depending on what you're trying to like resist. Usually you'll run Flame Body on the support sets. I think even on the offensive sets you'll run Flame Body unless you're running like substitute Salac Berry, Bug Buzz, Volcarona for like Swarm or whatever, but for the most part Flame Body is the better option. You run Protect on this. I think Protect is going to be very good this season just to like scout out Terra types or whatever and make game plans off of that. You get Rage Powder. Rage Powder and Tailwind I think are like the key elements of the support set here. You get speed, you get like boost your speed and redirect attacks. I think Fiery Dance is good. You can also run like Giga Drain for longevity, or Heat Wave to hit both Pokemon, or Flamethrower if you want more base power than Fiery Blast and Heat Wave. Overheat could be really fun, actually. I like burst damage. I don't know. That's just me. So yeah, that's what you'd end up running. You can run like Whirlwind or Will-O-Wisp on the support set as well. It's really up to you on what you need. Now, last Pokemon is Mousehold. This is just better Clefairy. It's Clefairy that can run an item. It's Clefairy that's not held back by running Eviolite. Wildland is just the option to make your population bomb 99% accurate and have essentially a 200 base power normal type move that hits multiple times and therefore breaks Sash. I think you Terra Ghost on this Pokemon. That's what I've done in the past. I like it. Because this Pokemon, it gets Clefairy and Adidas moveset. It gets Protect, it gets Helping Hand, it gets Follow Me, it gets a fourth move. And your fourth move can be like other things as well. You can like Encore, you could run Player Up to hit fighting types if you wanted to. You could run you run Sub, you run Super Fang, you run Switcheroo, you run Taunt. Like you got options, you run Thunder Wave. Like you got options for that fourth move, but like having Friend Guard is really great. Like I said, this Pokemon is just like, it's better Clefairy. It's Clefairy that isn't held down by Eviolite, right? So you can run a different item on it if you wanted to. So like those are the support Pokemon that I think will be really good. Next we move on to the Tailwind supporters, right? Now, Corviknight thus far has not been very good because Torkoal was everywhere to give Flutter Mane boosts. But I think with the Photosynthesis Mons going away, I think Corviknight could be really good. I actually think this should be Terra Steel, personally. That's just me. I think Corviknight can be really good. Pressure Mirror Armor is actually really great. If you manage to catch someone like an Arcanine physical attacker switch, you could just lower their physical attacker instead. Or Unnerve, like this, basically all of this Pokemon's abilities can be good. I think Mirror Armor is the best ability on Corviknight. So yeah, really great Tailwind setter. I think because the Photosynthesis Pokemon are not usable right now, it will pick up in usage because it's not fearing like a Torkoal every single game it walks into. Next is Murkrow. Murkrow is one of two like priority Tailwind users. This one has Prankster. Unfortunately, Whimsicott is not back, but to a degree I'm kind of bad because I'm kind of tired of seeing Whimsicott everywhere for the last 6 years. Again, I didn't play before 2017. It may have been around before that. So yeah, there's Murkrow. Prankster Tailwind. It had Sunny Day, but again, since the Paradox Pokemon are banned, I don't see Sunny Day being used. Also, this thing's Brave Burst. Brave Bird with max attack. That's HP. This thing's Brave Bird with max attack hits like unreasonably hard, and I don't know why. So like Brave Bird, you get, so yeah, this is the other Tailwind user. Next is Noivern. You could run like Covert Cloak, Frisk, Noivern. Excuse me. For a fast Tailwind user that can't be flinched. It might be the fastest Tailwind user in the game. There might be Pokemon faster than it too. I'm not sure. Next is Pelipper. I think Pelipper like had a lot of potential. I think Rain like in general is very weak this gen, but if you're not running like a Rain team, I think this Pokemon is still good. And again, you can still counter like Torkoal Lilligant with it because Torkoal Lilligant will still be good for the same reasons that Torkoal Venusaur was good. Now Lilligant can Terrastallize and run any sort of coverage move it wants as well. So I think Pelipper could be good with Tailwind and Icy Wind as well, so you can boost your speed and then lower their speed if they like match your Tailwind or something. Next is Talonflame, the other priority Tailwind user, because of Gale Wings. You have to run Protect on this Pokemon, unfortunately, because otherwise you can just get faked out or extreme speeded and then your Tailwind is no longer a priority. I know because I abuse this against Talonflame players. But yeah, it's the other Pressure Tailwind user. And then last is Volcarona, and we talked about Volcarona on the support set, so I won't go back into it right now. Next, I want to talk about Dragon types. Dragon types are very good in Scarlet and Violet. These four are all good for the same reason, and the reason being is because you can Terrastallize Steel and get rid of your 4x weakness. 4x weak to Ice, who cares? Steel type. 4x weak to Ice, you're a Steel type now. 4x weak to Fairy, who cares? You're a Steel type now. 4x weak to Ice, who cares? You're a Steel type now. I know Dragonite also runs Terra Normal for like the extreme speed. But yeah, so like these Pokemon, they Terra Steel, they're no longer weak to Fairy, they keep their Dragon stab, they have amazing stats, but better defensive typing. Dragon types are great in this gen. I did a video on Baxcalibur, so I won't go too far into it right now, but Thermal Exchange is a really great ability. I recommend going and watching the Baxcalibur vid. It should be in the, actually it'll be in the VGC 2023 guides playlist. Dragapult is also really good because you can Terra Dragon and have stronger Dragon Darts, or you can Terra Ghost and have stronger Phantom Force or Shadow Ball if you're running special. So I think Dragapult will continue to be really good. But in general, like, the Dragons are really good because you can Terrestrialize into a Steel type and get rid of your Fairy weakness or your Ice weakness or any other 4x weakness that you might have. In these cases, you get rid of your Fairy weakness. In their cases, you get rid of your 4x weakness. So next I want to talk about some of the prominent physical attackers that'll be around. Like, Scizor will be good. Scizor was good because Fluttermane was around, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think like max attack Bullet Seed was an OHKO into Fluttermane. So yeah, but Scizor will, like, I feel like Scizor will continue to be good, especially like you get Bullet Punch, you get, what was that move, like Trailblaze, to raise your speed, and then like close combat, like typing is hard, give me a break. This was a set that I actually saw somebody using. It was really good, really cool. You boost your speed and your attack, and then you can Terra into a different type and not have a 4x weakness to fire. Tyranitar is going to be very good as well because you can get rid of your 4x weakness to fighting. We all saw the trailer. You can Dragon Dance in this set, or you can run a slow on Trick Room sets, either or. Annihilate, actually, I think it's really good now that Fluttermane is gone, because Fluttermane came in and just hit this thing in its stabs, or hit this thing super effectively with its stabs, either Ghost or Fairy, and you protected in front of it to see if this thing was going to Terra first, and then you respond in kind. So I think Annihilate actually gets a lot better now that Fluttermane is gone. I did a video guide on how to use Annihilate too. You should go check that one out. Next is Satitan. Satitan, I think, was just outclassed by Qianpao. Right, Qianpao? That was the Ice type one. So Satitan was outclassed by Qianpao. But I think you could very well use this thing with like either Thick Fat or Slush Rush right now. Doubled speed if you want to use it next to like a Bomb Snow, or Thick Fat if you want to take half damage from fire type moves. It could be really cool to like Terra this thing into something that resists fire and take literally 0 from fire type moves. That'd be really funny. Like, imagine Terra this thing into a water type and taking essentially like quarter damage from fire and ice type moves. So yeah, that's an option. You can run it with Choice Scarf as well, and then you essentially hit Qianpao's speed stat. Don't quote me on that number, I don't know it off the top of my head. Next is King Gambit. Again, I did a video guide on King Gambit. Really potent Trick Room attacker with Defiance. I think Supreme Overlord is a lot better in doubles than it is singles. Defiant is just better in doubles, I think, personally speaking. So yeah, really potent Trick Room attacker. I won't go too in depth on this one. I broke it down earlier, like a week and a half ago or so. Next is Ceruledge. Bitter Blade is a really great move. 90 base power plus stab plus 125 base attack. It does damage and you heal HP, which I think is really good. And like with like Flash Fire or Weak Armor, it you could run this with like Scarf fire types or switch it into a fire type move and make this work. I actually saw someone use like Terra Grass Ceruledge. I don't know why, but I saw it being used. Does it get a grass type? What grass type move does it get? Do you just run Terra Blast? Like, I think you ran Terra Grass to run like Bitter Blade Terra Blast to hit your water type checks. I don't know, but I saw it being used. It was really funny. I didn't lose to it, but it was really funny. Next is Gyarados. Gyarados can Terrestrialize into a ground type and kill off its 4x weakness to electric and make it into an immunity to electric. Or you can just Terralize into like pure water if you want like less weaknesses. Where's water? It's at the bottom. Again, this thing still gets Dragon Dance. Still gets Dragon Dance, and it still has like really great coverage moves and like Earthquake in Aqua Tail, but I don't see why you'd use Aqua Tail when you can use Waterfall. Thunder Wave on like support sets, Terra Blast on Terra Ground type moves, Stone Edge. It still gets great support moves. Still a great Pokemon, and it still has Intimidate, which is very useful in VGC. Now, Hariyama. Hariyama is really great. Trick Room. A lot of us from 2017 will remember Hariyama. And the problem is, I think Hariyama got really outclassed by Iron Hands. But now that Iron Hands isn't usable, I think Hariyama could actually be really good. Guts, Flame Orb, your generic set, right? Guts, Flame Orb, Fake Out, Protect, Close Combat, Facade. That's your moveset with Hariyama. You can run other moves other than Protect, like Bullet Punch or something. But Hariyama, I think, can be very good now that Iron Hands is not allowed, right? So next I want to move on to some of the promised special attackers. Hetarine is a very good special attacker. It was used a lot. Its one drawback is like it's 57 base HP, because otherwise its defenses are great. Its one drawback is it loses a lot of its usability without expanding Force next to DD and Dynamax to confuse Pokemon, but I think it's still a very potent special attacker. 136 special attack is nothing to like scoff at, and still having Magic Bounce is still really great because you can't Spore it, you can't Parting Shot it, you can Parting Shot this one because it forcibly switches it out. You can't Taunt it, so on and so forth. Like Magic Bounce is still a really great ability on this Pokemon. Next is Volcarona. I brought up this Pokemon as a support Pokemon. It's also a really potent like special attacker. You run Protect, you run your Quiver Dance, you run your Fiery Dance, and you can run Bug Buzz, or you can run Terra Blast and Terra into a type of your choice. I don't want to say too much, but when Qian Pao got banned, or when I found out that Qian Pao wasn't usable, I started running this, so that I could still have my Fire Dark type attacker that did damage. So this is something I did and had a lot of fun with. It was really funny. Yes, you have to Terra Dark instead of Terra and Fire like I did with Chi-Yu, but if I didn't say Chi-Yu the first time, I meant Chi-Yu. This is what I started doing when I found out that Chi-Yu wasn't usable. Next is Goldango. This Pokemon is already proven to be really good in doubles and singles. Choice Scarf, Gold is Gold, and where's the move? Make it Rain. You don't necessarily have to run Choice Scarf on this Pokemon, but like, Make it Rain is a really great special move. Hits both Pokemon, 120 base power, doesn't miss. Lowers your special attack by 1. But in general, like Goldango is a very great Pokemon. And then like, I was going somewhere with this. Oh yeah, I think don't quote me on this. I don't have the calc off the top of my head, but I was watching some other video. I think it was Blunder, singles player, who said that like Make It Rain, if used 3 times in a row, still does more damage than Flash Cannon used 3 times in a row. So yeah, there's that. It has really great coverage moves. It gets Dazzling Gleam, it gets Flash Cannon if you want Flash Cannon to not lower your special attack, gets Focus Blast, gets Power Gem, gets Psychic Psyshock, and then Shadow Ball, and then Thunderbolt, Thunderbolt. So really great coverage moves on this Pokemon as well. It can fill a lot of holes that you need, and then again, Make It Rain is a really great move. Honorable mention for these last, I think 3. No. So Gengar's an honorable mention. I think it can kind of fill the Flutter Mane role because you can still run Choice Scarf to get it fast. You essentially get like the same, I shouldn't say Protect on that. You still get like the same 3 moves that Flutter Mane got. You still get the same 3 moves that Flutter Mane got, just differently. Gardevoir also could potentially be really good. Choice Scarf Gardevoir is a thing. Skeledirge I can see being good. You get Unaware, so ignore Boost. Good special attack, and then Torch Song raises your special attack. Decent Pokemon. Sylveon is always really good, and then Torkoal is good. Sylveon runs like, I've seen this. It's basically it's Throat Spray, Pixelate, Terra Fairy, Hyper Voice. This is the set you run, and then Torkoal is like Charcoal, Drought, Terra Fire, Eruption does a lot of damage. Moving on, you have a couple of these tanks. Gastrodon is really great taking Mon. You could Terra into a water or a ground type to no longer have a 4 times weakness to rock, and then just yawn things forever. Yawn or Icy Wind things forever. I think it still gets recovered in this gen. Yeah, so it still gets recovered in this gen. It's not as good since it only has like 8 power points. I thought it was 5. Anyways, it still gets 8 power points, so. And this is Garganacl. This Pokemon has proven to be an amazing tank. The set is, I think, Protect. That's the type of I will never not make. Protect, Iron Defense, Body Press, and Salt Cure to do residual damage. And then just like max HP, max special defense. This is, I think, the set that people are running. The EVs might look a little different, but this Pokemon, like, it comes onto the field and it doesn't die. It's very hard to kill. And then you're just losing like 1/8 of your HP every turn or more. Goodra, I think Goodra's always like that mid-tier tank that's like, everybody tries to make it work, but it doesn't. I really hope Goodra can be good, but unfortunately it doesn't have the greatest abilities. Like, okay, Sap Sipper's okay because you can't be spored. That's usable. And then there's Bronzong. Bronzong is traditionally been very good in like restricted formats because it's very hard to kill, which also in turn makes it very good in like limited dex formats because the power level is a lot lower than restricted dex formats or restricted formats. Which means that you can make like Bronzong can be like very hard to kill, a really great trigger mon, really great support mon. So like those are your for like big tanks. This is less of a big tank, but like these three are your big tanks of the gen. For double specifically, yes. Where is it? Yes, I know Blissey is in the game, but it's not as usable in doubles as it is in singles. For obvious reasons, but so those are your tanks. And then I wanted to bring this up because I've seen this on ladder a couple times, or a few times. I see this a lot on ladder, and it's something that if you're team building in VGC 2023, you absolutely have to be prepared for. And it's this combo: Tatsugiri, Dondozo, and Flamigo. And essentially, like, you're running either like Toxic Orb or Black Sludge on your Tatsugiri so that you can kill it off while it's inside Dondozo, who has +2 and unaware. And then so your Tatsugiri dies, your Dondozo retains its stat boost, and then you bring out your Flamigo. And with Co-Star, you have two Pokemon that just have an Omni boost. Granted, they are also both physical attackers, so you can still burn them and intimidate them. But they're still like hard to kill, and this is a relatively like difficult strategy to deal with if you're not prepared for it. So if you're team building in VGC 2023, this is absolutely a team combo you have to be worried about. So yeah, that's all I got. In general, I think like VGC 2023 Series 1 will be like somewhat fun. It'll be a lot more fun, I think, without Fluttermane everywhere, but losing out on everything else kind of sucks to me. Because like, well, I don't mind the Paradox Pokemon being banned. I think they looked really fun to use, personally. I'll be very interested to see if like the Paradox Pokemon will be if the Paradox Pokemon and the Treasures of Ruin Pokemon will return in the future. I think they will. I think that's how they're doing the series. It's just like they'll introduce the Paradox and Ruin Pokemon the same way they introduced Gigantamax Pokemon in previous videos or previous generations. Yeah, in Gen 8, right? Gen 8. Yeah. And I guess the question of the day, since I am getting into battling content, I want to know if you'd prefer like battling content with live commentary over it, like the way Cybertron does it, Aaron Zhang, or if you would prefer more like in-depth analysis over the replays, because like the benefit of live is you can hear my thought process as I go. It's fresh. It's more authentic, more real. Versus like the in-depth analysis afterwards is I can kind of break down like my thought process after the team and break down like every single aspect of it that I can't necessarily say in the span of 60 seconds, because the things I would say in those 60 seconds versus the things I'm thinking in those 60 seconds tend to be like very different. Things I'm thinking tend to be more in-depth. So again, just let me know if you prefer like live commentary as I'm battling or like in-depth analysis over replays. So yeah, that's all I got. One last thing, I guess, like, please, I would really appreciate any subscriptions. Anybody who wants to subscribe to the channel, that'd be really great. I'm super close to hitting my goal of 50 subscribers by the end of the year. So I think I only need like 4 or 5 more to make that happen. So, but I mean, like, don't see that and don't subscribe. Like, I want to grow this channel as big as I can get it. So please subscribe, and I would really appreciate it. So that's all I got. Excited to start posting some battling content. Peace.